fear the round of applause was for this wonderful video, not for me walking onto the stage, but maybe next time. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the International Sail Training and Tallships Conference for 2016, and welcome to Halmstad, and welcome to this, what is, I think, quite a wonderful hotel, and I hope you'll be enjoying it for the next couple of days and enjoying the presentations. Just a couple of the usual housekeeping announcements before we get started. First of all, if you hear a fire alarm, run as fast as you can, because it will not be a practice, it's the real thing, but hopefully that won't be the case. And all of the lunches and the coffees and teas, etc., will be served just outside the entrance there to the hallway here. So that's it, very simple on the housekeeping, so I hope you enjoy yourself. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Huda Axelsson, who is the Vice Chairman of Halmstad City Council. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, wow, what a gathering we have here this morning. My name is Huda Axelsson, and I'm the Vice Chairman of the City Council of Halmstad. It is a very enormous pleasure to welcome you all in our beautiful city. For 12 years ago, I sailed my way from Morocco to Halmstad because of love, and then I stayed, so here I am. It is a glad welcome we bring to you, filled with desires, hopes, and dreams that all of us share. On behalf of my colleagues, I would like to wish you a convivial welcome and an enjoyable time in Halmstad. But I would like to take some facts about our beautiful city, Halmstad. Halmstad is a lively municipality. Throughout the years, the favorable location on the west coast allows business to develop, tourism to thrive, and inhabitants to enjoy life and multiply in numbers. Halmstad is currently the country's 19th largest city, with around 94,000 inhabitants. Halmstad is widely known as one of Sweden's biggest tourist destinations, and it is also a municipality under development. Over the past 50 years, Halmstad has been one of Sweden's most expansive municipalities. Halmstad, my city, is a hometown to enjoy life in, a city of knowledge to develop in, and a city of experiences for all tastes. In summer 2017, Halmstad Harbour will be packed with training ships and seafaring vessels of all shapes and sizes. After Halmstad Harbour successfully hosted and was the final international of the tall ship races in 2011, Sail Training International has now given the go-ahead for Halmstad as starting port. The race was one of the biggest events Halmstad has ever seen, and this time it is expected, if possible, to be even bigger and even more successful. Sail training is seen more than a big event by the municipality of Halmstad and by the citizens of Halmstad. Sail training provides opportunities for young people from all backgrounds to find out about themselves and what is really important in life. It helps them to realize that it is people, not things, that matter, and that sometimes the most significant lesson in life is to have the confidence to just be yourself. And all this comes from our encounters with the sea in ships that need people to sail them, people who must work together and overcome many challenges to get the boat safely to their destinations. Being at sea and learning to put the ship and their shipmates before themselves is perhaps not always something that comes naturally to our trainees. But we all know that the common bond that is formed amongst young people when they face the oceans can be a life-changing experience. And we know it works not because they have seen it on YouTube, but because it is real. I believe that today, more than ever, we need young people who have the self-belief and determination to take charge of our world in the future. From my perspective, the more of them that have seen life from the deck of a ship and pulled on a rope with others, the brighter our future will be. Because in a meeting like this with others, real connection, exchange, and understanding happens. Once again, it is a pleasant welcome to what I know is going to be a great conference. So welcome again. Thank you. Thank you, sir. How was that?
Good morning. Thank you again to the City of Halmstad for being our host this year for the conference. We're going to try to ignore this a little bit and the spa and everything else that's around here so that we can focus on our conference, but it's hard with a setting like this to do that. So we're very grateful for your hosting us here. Also like to thank the joint host ports for the Baltic tall ship races this summer, coming in 2017 for the reception last night, which everyone enjoyed. It's been a big year in sail training, and for Sail Training International, a very diverse year geographically. We had our normal tall ship races series here in Europe in the Channel and Iberia district, a North Sea regatta, and we also had our second Sovcomflot-sponsored Black Sea regatta down in the Black Sea. 2017 promises to be even more sea miles, with a fleet trading across the Atlantic both ways to celebrate Canada 150. Whilst here in Europe, we will be hosting events with some of our longest-standing partners through the Tall Ships Races series in the Baltic. All of that, in the end, is about changing young lives. And in our pursuit to achieve greater heights in our mission, STI has been putting a lot of focus on the development of Sail on Board and sailonboard.com, and the video that you saw that made you feel like going sailing just a little while ago is all about that. It's a new marketplace that, together with the fleet and our port partners, will evolve into a place where people learn why they should go sail training and how to go sail training. In the beginning, we're making it about the events, and we're basing this early launch on the events we have in 2017, but it'll evolve very quickly into being able to learn about going sail training anytime, any day, anywhere in the world. And that's really the push behind it. And we hope that you embrace it like we're embracing it, and that you, not just here at the conference, so we plenty of opportunity to learn about it at the conference. If you're a port partner, we have ways for you to help us promote it. We want to drive as much traffic to it as we can. If you're a ship operator, regardless of how complex your marketing program is, we're going to help you become an active participant in it, and we need your input to help us achieve that together. So I really encourage you to get involved in sailonboard.com to help us make it a household brand. That's what we want to do. That's our goal. As I mentioned, we have this beautiful setting and a spa, but we have a lot of great conference content, so we'll try to focus on that over the next couple of days. Look forward to meeting with you all on a social level and also hearing some of the great sessions, and encourage you to take in as much of it as you can. We're now going to have a review of the 2016 events from our Head of Race Directorate, Paul Bishop. Paul, thank you.
Thank you very much, Doug. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can you all hear me at the back? Good. Okay. As Head of Race Directorate, it is my pleasure to report on a successful year for the 3 events. We held the 3 events with over 8,000 young crews taking part from close to 40 different countries. Amazingly, Attila, to give you an example, that is a truly international event, had 11 different nationalities out of 12 on board. Well done, Rodrigo and team. The 78 vessels came from 21 different countries, as far away from Venezuela, Vladivostok, and Mexico. There was a total of 35 Class A ships, 16 Class B ships, and 34 Cs and Ds. And this created a magnificent spectacle for the visitors, the over 4 million visitors who came down to see the ships. The young trainees faced all types of conditions: gale force winds, fogs, calms, huge seas, and many of the captains fed back that these amazing challenges were really good for sail training, youth development, and young people really just learned so many life lessons from that. Great stuff. The Tall Ships Races 2016, we started in Antwerp. Antwerp had previously hosted the races in 1993, 2001, 2004, 2006, and 2010. They're also the presenting sponsors from 2004 to 2012, and they really have been a major support for sail training. With a cadre of volunteers, amazing volunteers that have been involved in all of those events, some of them, and the first-class professional team, Antwerp delivered a great event. A few lessons were learnt from 2010, and one example was the fleet was more compact. It was a smaller site, and that worked well. The feedback for port services was excellent, and all returns from the captains gave a good or very good for the trainees program, or port services, and trainees program was also excellent at 92%, giving good or very good. The overall rating for the port held a similar high level. Race 1 was off Tor Bay, some 300 miles away. Not ideal. The weather conditions were certainly less than ideal too, with near gale force headwinds all the way. Some of the smaller vessels were not going to make it in the allocated 3 days, so the race committee decided to extend the start gate for a further 24 hours and not to hold those bigger ships that were there back. Not ideal again. This gave a bit of an advantage to those ships who did start in the start of the 24-hour start gate. But hey, you know, we're at the mercy of the weather conditions sometimes. The 780 nautical miles down to Lisbon, there's some good tight racing there. And once again, we were in Lisbon. Lisbon, of course, holds a unique and historic spot for being one of 2 of the original host ports for tall ships races that started 60 years ago. A vibrant city, always popular with the crews, and very accessible for the event area, which the main event area, which was by the fantastic cruise ship terminal. The smaller vessels were put in a marina, a sheltered marina, some 4 miles away, where the Volvo Ocean Race had previously been hosted. This was due to the feedback we had received from some of the smaller vessels that sustained a little bit of damage when they were up on the cruise ship pier. Not ideal, and unfortunately, that second event area was not really focused on looking after the young trainees and smaller vessels down there. But there have been lessons learned, and we're assured next time we go back to Lisbon, that will not happen again. More importantly, Apervela did an amazing job in recruiting young and very deserving trainees. That record figure will be announced tomorrow. Race 2, fantastic race start in ideal conditions, which continued all the way down to the waypoint of Cape St. Vincent. From then on, it was very much a tactical race, and it was fantastic to see the different strategies the captains and navigators made. And there's no doubt the racing was really exciting and close, with minutes separating the ships coming into Cadiz. And we've had plenty of feedback from the captains to say, actually, this racing element, this serious racing element, friendly but serious, is a really good thing, additional thing to a normal sail training program. Cadiz previously hosted the races successfully for the Columbus Regatta in 1992, Tall Ships 2000, 2006, and 2012. And the visitors in Cadiz, they just love tall ships. And over about an estimated 1.5 million people came down to see them. Fantastic event. The local organization and the liaison officers were even better than 2012. And the feedback for the cruise services, port services and crew program was excellent, with 88% of returns stating that Cadiz was good or very good. Again, unusually, we put in a race leg, a split race and cruising company leg up to A Coruña. This worked well, I think, for most of the vessels, although it's a short 100-mile race. Again, it was very, very close, with only minutes separating the leading vessels and winners. From the historic point of Sagres, which was the finish line, there was a good cruising company program laid on by both Apervela and the Wanda Langara Association. So thanks, guys, for doing an amazing job for that. Records indicate that A Coruña has hosted the tall ships races more than any other host port. And there are some amazing volunteers there who have been involved for more, the recent events from 1990, 94, 2002, 2006, and 2012, and particularly the Wanda Langara Association. The feedback for the trainee activities program and port services was excellent, and the overall feedback received for A Coruña gave all returns as good or very good. A Coruña is a strong supporter for sail training, and it was a great port to end on a successful 2016 tall ships race. No sooner than the tall ships races had finished, the race chairman, James Stevens, with my race director, Mike Bowles, and the North Sea Regatta team were deploying to Blythe. It's the first time for Blythe, who hosted Tall Ships Regatta, and their LOs did a great job in looking after the vessels, and they certainly gained some great friends there. The events area was well organized, and there's a lot of side entertainment for the hundreds of thousands of visitors who came down to see the ships. Blythe also did a great job in recruiting local, deserving young trainees. The race started off in ideal conditions, 450 miles course, and continued that way. And the ships had a fantastic race all the way across to Gothenburg. Gothenburg was well organized by a professional events team, and their volunteers and liaison officers did a good job in looking after the vessels and their crews. The berthing area was in the basin, close to the city, except for Dama Jersey, because of her air draft, was restricted and had to be put down in a commercial dock further down. But that all worked well. I think Gothenburg was a great success, and they also did a great job in recruiting trainees with a particular focus on accessibility, as a number of their trainees were disabled, had special needs. Whilst the North Sea Regatta was ending in Gothenburg, the race chairman, Robin Snooker-Groyne, and the Black Sea Regatta team, we were en route to Constanza. Constanza, the historic city and beautiful city, had hosted the race once before in 2014, and the small but professional team did a great job in looking after the 16-strong fleets. Race 1 saw the sister ships Mir and Nadezhda cross the start line minutes apart from each other. It really was like an America's Cup, and they seemed to match race all the way to Novorossiysk. Really exciting. Novorossiysk had hosted the race back in 2014, and the Port Authority did a good job in looking after the ships. There were frustrations with the security arrangements there, but that didn't stop the fleet in the compact berthing area having a great time with lots of onboard parties going on. Great atmosphere. Race 2 to Sochi. This was a short 100-mile course. It started out in light and variable winds, and then the strong and gale force headwinds kicked in, and that was pretty tough for the crew, but challenging and exciting for them. Home at the Winter Olympics in 2013, and the exclusive super yacht marina in that area. Sochi also hosted the Black Sea Regatta in 2014. That went well, but there were even more over-the-top security arrangements due to the Russian President Vladimir Putin coming down to our prize giving. But overall, they did a good job. Race 3 across Tivana went well. Strategically, very, very interesting. Headwinds again. And again, interesting to see the different strategic decisions the captains made. And I have to point out, Adonati did a great job in taking a bold southerly course, and that really paid off, and she came ahead of her rivals. Really great tactical decision, very professional. Varna, again, the Finnish host port of Varna, fantastic, hosted the race in 2010 and 14. Under the outstanding and super leadership of Captain Toma Tomov, they did a fantastic job, and their volunteers in looking after the ships. And that was a fantastic way of ending what was a great regatta in so many ways. So, just a quick summary before I hand over to Paul Thompson. I think basically good standard seamanship throughout the fleet. You know, well done, the captains and the crews. Challenging conditions this year, but some fantastic seamanship. 10 host ports delivered successful events, and well done also to the host port teams for handling the additional security burdens and arrangements that you're having to put on level 4 plus in Europe due to world events in the past 12 months. Thank you. That didn't seem to stop the enjoyment of the young trainees and all of us. Lessons learned, of course, again, looking after smaller vessels. And I have to say, all those in the room who have seen us go on port planning visits will know we say, you know, concentrate on good, dedicated showers and toilets for the smaller vessels. So well done for all those ports who listened to that and delivered those good standards this year. And let's really aim for 2017, where we get nothing, the first year we get nothing but positive feedback about good facilities for the young trainees, particularly of the smaller boats. Yeah, the race feedback was very encouraging, but there are always lessons to learn, and we're always trying to improve that. And the importance of having naval ships at a race start, which we were unable to do in Torbay for a number of reasons, was noted. Most of the captains say this is an enormous addition to the young trainees, the excitement of it. We in the host ports really try to make sure we get naval ships for the starts and also for communication ships. It's not always possible, but we really do try for that. Overall, a good, successful year. And I just wanted feedback on the most important feedback that we've got, just from 3 quotes from the Sultan of Oman bursary trainees in what they thought about the events. So, before I hand over to Paul, just on behalf of everybody involved, there are many of you who made it such a successful year. The trainees had positive life-changing experiences. Many thanks particularly to the vessel operators, captains and crew who continue to do an inspiring job out there at sea. That's what it's all about. Thanks also to the sponsors and the businesses, of course, without whom it would be impossible to put these events on. And also I'd like you to join me, please, in thanking the host port teams of Antwerp, Lisbon, Cadiz, A Coruña, Blyth, Gothenburg, Constanza, Novorossiysk, Sochi and Varna for doing such a fantastic job. It's been a real pleasure working with you, and I say that on behalf of our team. Thank you very much indeed. And now we have Paul Thompson, Commercial Director, to report on that.
Good morning, everybody. This will be a very brief review of some of the commercial activities from the events this year. I think building on what Paul has already said, everyone had a whale of a time during the summer this year. We had some fantastic weather, particularly down in Portugal and Spain. It was actually too hot some of the time, which is really something we shouldn't complain about. But it was a really great summer. But there was something fishy going on down in Lisbon. There was a deck event on Stadsstraat Lemkel, which was celebrating the 500 millionth, if I've got that right, shipment of bacalhau between Norway and Portugal, which is quite an innovative use of a deck event, I thought. But it was good to see. It was good to see. Just very quickly, the visitor numbers from the events this year, again, were very, very strong. Lots of people for the tall ships races, lots of people for the North Sea Regatta. Particularly worth mentioning Blyth in the north of England, which is quite a small town. Had about 500,000 people come to the town of Blyth, which gave them some infrastructure headaches with park and ride and that sort of thing, but they overcame all of that, and it was an amazing event. And again, the Black Sea Regatta, great visitor numbers. So just over 4 million for the events this year. Media coverage, the stats really talk for themselves, but again, it was a very positive year. Strong growth of the social media audience. Lots of press, lots of articles, all very, very good. So then we come on to perhaps the more interesting bit for some of the vessel operators, the fleet revenue side of things in terms of trainees that were provided to the ships and deck events that were sold on behalf of the ships. As Paul said, this year, a very good year for host port trainees, and apologies, Paul, maybe it shouldn't be on this slide today, but I do have the number that was provided by Lisbon. They managed to place 379 trainees plus 43 on the cruising company, which is a record for any host port, thanks to the efforts of Apple Vela. So I think that deserves a brief round of applause. It was a fantastic effort on their part. Deck events is a different story. It's always more challenging when we go south, down to the Iberian Peninsula. There isn't quite the same culture and appetite for hospitality in the same way. And recent political changes down in that region have also made it more difficult for the host port teams to make an early start on the sales process for deck events, which, as we all know, is key. So if we look at the numbers, This is comparing to the previous years. Nearly 600 host port trainees, but only 41 deck events, which compared to previous years is very poor. And that's something we all need to work together on as we move forward into future years. How can we achieve more working in partnership, vessel operators and host ports? How can we work together to achieve more business? It's a regular topic at the conference, and it's also something we should be talking to each other about informally as we network here today and tomorrow. We need to have better communication. We all need more effective sales processes, not just the ports, not just the ships. We all need to be better at our sales and marketing processes because we're effectively selling products, particularly with the deck events, in competition with other options that companies have. We may think we have the crown jewels of an event, but actually it's a tough market out there and we have to compete, and we all have to be better at our sales and marketing to do that. We need to start the dialogue earlier. We need to work together earlier. The ports want the ships to enter the events early so they can start to market them as early as possible. The ships want to know from the ports what the potential return is before they make a decision on whether they enter the event. That's all about two-way communication. And I think, for me, it's much more about communication than anything else. And that's something we must focus on. Products and pricing is another chestnut that we must think about. Can we charge the same pricing in one market that we can in another market? What is the acceptable price in Scandinavia compared to the acceptable price in Spain or Portugal or in Poland? That's an interesting topic, something we could talk about. We need more testimonials, we need more proof from our customers to prove to other companies that perhaps haven't done this before why it's such a good thing. We need more evidence. And as I said, we need to talk to each other and network and communicate. So we have here at this conference a speed meeting session. It's a pre-booked only session. Many of you have pre-booked for that, and we're looking forward to that being a very productive start. And if it works, it's something that we'll repeat at future conferences. You've heard about Sail on Board from Doug, our new campaign. It's a big push for STI, and it's all because of this. Sail training equals vessel operators. No vessel operators, no sail training. The vessel operators, of course, are the delivery channel for sail training. You're the people with the ships, the smaller vessels that deliver it. And sail training isn't just about the events that we run or that other people run. Sail training is happening every day, everywhere. There are good STVs, sail training voyages happening at any time. The problem is that many of the vessels are sailing with empty berths, and every empty berth is a wasted sail training opportunity. The ship is sailing anyway. There's an empty berth. There could be a trainee in that bunk, and that is a missed opportunity. More than that, it's also a financial problem for the ship, because they're incurring the cost of running the voyage. If that berth was full, that would be another voyage fee that would help them to remain afloat in what are fairly turbulent times for many of us. So Sail on Board is a big push. In the port, some of you will have seen we have the Sail on Board tent on the quayside. That's a visitor engagement and education tent, which we're trying to organise in cooperation with the local National Sail Training Association and local vessel operators. We had mixed success this year. What really came through clearly is that we have to have more local support from the National Sail Training Association, local vessel operators and local volunteers who can speak in the local language, who perhaps have links to local sail training vessels. And it's something we'll be looking at as we develop our plans for next year. You'll hear a lot more about the website. Again, Doug's mentioned this, so I won't dwell on it, but sailonboard.com is a big push for us. It launched early this summer. It's very much an ongoing development project, and we want your feedback and your input as to how we can make it better. So there'll be a lot of two-way dialogue around the website. There are two sessions here at the conference. You'll have seen them in the program. One is a session for vessel operators, and one is a session for host ports. Please send someone from your organisation to be part of one of the relevant sessions for you. Very briefly on sponsorship. We have had a very successful repeat sponsorship from the Russian shipping company Sovcomflot with the Black Sea Regatta this year. We have our partnership with the Rendezvous Naval de Quebec for the transatlantic event next year. But we still seek a title sponsor for the tall ships races. So if any of you have any hot contacts, please let me know. But the search for the sponsorship of the tall ships races continues. And finally, we ran, for the second year running, a host port seminar during the race series, the summer race series. This year, we ran the event in Lisbon, which was a huge success. Fantastic weather. Thank you, Rui, for organising the weather. Very good of you. And it's a chance for host ports to experience the event at first hand, to listen to some informative presentations, and to network with other vessel operators. And I can announce that the host port seminar next year will be held in Turku, in Finland, on the 22nd of July, and we hope that all of the host ports here today will join us there. I'm now going to hand back to Paul, who's going to give a quick review of future events.
Thank you very much, Paul. I won't be long with this. I think you have all the details in your program, but we've got a very exciting event, one of the biggest we've ever run, Sail Training International, focusing on the 150th anniversary of Confederation in Canada, and with the highlight being the city of Quebec. We have 2 sessions on that for those who are involved or wish to be involved. The race entries don't stop. The deadline is the 1st of March, and that's session 1 and 3. Very exciting event to look forward to. And again, similarly, there's a preview for the Baltic race in 2017 as well. And just announced, actually, we've got a really exciting event, which I mentioned last year, that is now firmed up. That mystery ports, or the mystery ports are Liverpool and Dublin, en route to Bordeaux for their International Wine Festival. It's going to be a great one. And well done, Dublin. And of course, 2018, we've got a very interesting, the 4 ports are actually progressing really well on the arrangements. I think it's going to be a great year in the North Sea. And even 2019, these guys are well ahead of the game in their organization, and I think are going to put on some great series. There's going to be some interesting head-scratching for the race committees to get various waypoints in the Skagerrak, etc., around there, but that'll be exciting races. And just a quick finishing then on the overview of race planning. You'll see the sort of general areas the race committees and the boards are looking at their outline program. Some pretty exciting stuff going on in Europe. That's not fixed, that's not cast in stone. So we encourage host ports to, if you want to have a special year, for example, you've got a special celebration, do approach us. That's not cast in stone. Cook 250th anniversary could have been a great global event. It looks like that's going to be more regional now. But nonetheless, it still has potential. And Steve Moss is here, who can bring you up to date in the conference if you're interested. We know one vessel is going from Hobart across to join in the celebrations, and that's Windward Bound, I think, and Captain Sarah Parry is also here. So it only needs one other vessel to join Windward Bound, and that's the regatta, making it a regatta. So do have a chat with either Steve Moss or Captain Sarah Parry, and hopefully something will come out of that. And very exciting, we're still talking to Vladivostok potentially as a very interesting, as a key port for a very interesting regatta in the China Seas. We've got a number of other ports in mind, but we're very looking forward to developing that, and indeed other races outside of Europe in the coming years.
That's the end of the opening plenary, everybody. So please now make your way out for tea and coffee for the first break and enjoy the conference. Thank you.